about 25 minutes, so I have some time to hang with you for anything you guys might need. And I will mute my phone while I listen to announcements here in the gate area.
Go ahead. Did you want to start?
Mike, Chapman, bringing me on. Always good to have you guys here. Last year, we did a ball game in the Marriott Center, and we had no talent at that ball game. Everything was done out of Bristol. And I've heard that there's more of that you guys are contemplating. It was disastrous. And so I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but maybe you can comment a little bit as to how that's going to be something. It was an ESPN 3 game. It was at home in Provo, and it was horrific. I mean, nothing matched up. It was really a mess. But I'm hearing that we're, the ESPN's anticipating doing more games like that. Is that something that you know the game I'm talking? I can't remember who it was.
I don't know that
game. It was a West Coast Conference game, basketball game, but it just didn't work very well.
I don't know about that game in particular. I do know that we have been doing ESPN 3 games in basketball and Olympic sports, and right now we're doing some softball games out of Bristol and Charlotte from our board. But I'll let Ed kind of, it's above my purview as far as what the future holds and what we're looking to do in regards to REMEs. We call them REMEs as far as stuff being produced out of our boards, and if that affects college football or not. Ed, can you answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I can weigh in on a number of those things, and a lot of this model has been through our observations of some of the conference networks, including the Pac-12 network and the Big Ten network. I was out observing the facilities out there in San Francisco at the Pac-12 network. They put together a very functional model from our viewpoint. I know in the early going there's been a learning curve. A lot of the smaller productions are being contemplated in some situations for what we call a REME production or a remote integration from studio production. It won't dramatically affect college football this year, but there'll be some games done on ESPNU and ESPN, not necessarily ESPN3, but a few on ESPNU. And, I attended a lacrosse game recently from the remote side just to kind of get a sense of what it was that we were dealing with on site when no other personnel other than camera people and an audio person was there. And, I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't as kind of disconnected as I feared it might be, but I know every situation is a little bit different, and it may affect you guys differently, and I think that's a component that we'd love to hear more about because, our crew on site functioned well and did not have any particular problems, but if it affects the school or things important to the school in a negative way, we certainly want to learn more about those, because we'd certainly like to do our part to address those, if not factor them into future decisions. What do we need to know about it from your end?
Well, the biggest thing was off was, for instance, replay. So replay, we're looking at monitors that the truck's feeding us, and that feed is now coming from Bristol instead of the light in the arena. And so everything was, 2-3 seconds off a week, sometimes up to 5, because now our clocks are feeding the production, but what we're viewing in the world of replay and basketball replay coming back to us from Bristol, right? So that became very cumbersome very fast.
Are you superimposing your own clock over our video, or you're taking a composite from us?
We feed it, the house feeds it to you guys for the production.
Right. Yeah, there's no doubt that it will be delayed coming back to you for replay purposes. We hadn't to this point viewed that as something that would negatively affect the replay process when it became necessary, but it is no doubt disconcerting as you're watching it, and it is clearly several seconds off.
Yeah, it does. So we need to address that if we can do it.
Okay. What else, Mike? Do you have? I know you're not involved in the Remy productions because they're directed from our directors in-house, either in Bristol or in Charlotte. But other observations in terms of football or other sports interacting with the group of people represented in this room, the video coordinators.
Yes. I found I've been at ESPN for 8 years as a staff director. I do all sports, college football, basketball. So I do women's college series, men's college series, and Omaha. So my whole life is consisted of college sports. Florida, this is college football season. Losing directors, just like we are each week. Before we come to town. And we all kind of get on the ball. We got our game going on. We got to get our coaches and we got to get our coaches and we got to get our production together. But I found this year to be the most productive for us and hopefully for you as well. Because the bottom line is when we do a football game, we're selling college football and specifically we're selling the two teams. We're selling your teams, and you can help us brand your team on a week-to-week basis. And I know certain producers. I don't know all of them, but I know certain producers are sending out form letters each week. That Monday or Tuesday, once we knew where we were going, to the home and away video directors to kind of help us out with any stories, the stuff you've shot. Things like, maybe in preseason the team met with some Marines or SEALs and kind of help them with their, how to get together the team leadership and some great video of them in the pools and just kind of stuff like that, or even something is maybe a week later, but still good TV where, Coach Rich Rod, big win over Oregon, and you guys are allowed in the locker room. We're not allowed in the locker room. In certain, obviously, in certain circumstances, we get permission from SIDs to get into the locker room after a big win, and sometimes we're not. And at times we're not, it's still important that you have some great video of Coach Rich Rod or Coach Graham after a big win against Notre Dame, where he's dancing in the locker room, and you put it up on your website. And it's good stuff. You got the students, you have the alums watching. That's stuff that we can use the following week, the next crew that's coming in, that can show, hey, look how enthusiastic this team is. It kind of humanizes your coaches, program, things like that. I think there was something during the week. There was one producer who was doing a USC game and asked the SID whether we can coach Sarkisian in a practice. And they're like, well, no, I don't think we can do that. But the request went to the video guys for you guys to do it. You got the okay. You mic'd them up for a practice. You edited it out. You gave us the best, 45 seconds to a minute. Gave it to us. We put it together and aired it that Saturday. To me, is great. We're selling. You're selling coach. You're selling the program. We're selling all that good stuff. I mean, even something with basketball sounds simple, but we're doing. You're doing a game against West Virginia, and let's say it's Kansas, West Virginia, and your practice, and Kansas is practicing against the West Virginia press, and they're playing 7-on-5. And that's good video to come into showing our game how Kansas is prepping for West Virginia press, playing 7-on-5 in practice. So stuff like that is so helpful to us, but I think in the long run, in kind of a roundabout way, it helps us all. It helps sell your program, it helps sell your team, it helps sell the coaches, and it makes us all look good. And I think the stuff that we've done this year, and I don't know if you're hearing on a weekly basis, you should, and I'm sure we'll talk about it. We have our seminar in August in Charlotte where all the football producers and directors get together, and I just felt this year there was so much more that we've done than in my prior 7 years. Even for me as a director, when I come out and do a game, I'll meet up with the video director on certain occasions if we're going to cover the run out. And I want to go into your office and maybe you can kind of show me, for example, if I go to South Carolina and I want to see the Space Odyssey and I want to kind of time it out and see what's block and kind of run out. I mean, that stuff helps us immensely and obviously helps sells you and your brand in South Carolina. So things like that, those were some examples from this past year it helped us immensely. So, and I think if that's something that, we can kind of do early in the week, I'm sure that'll help you too, instead of kind of us coming in on Friday or and say, hey, we can, we want to do this, and it's like, well, I've got my own stuff going on. So I think it's something that we can kind of work with each other and introduce each other and send, and communicate. And that's the thing, communicate early in the week on Tuesday and Wednesday as opposed to Thursday and Friday. I think we can do a lot with each other as far as selling the game and selling your teams.
I would also add to that, Mike, that and what I've been talking to coaches during some of the spring meetings about is, some of the great stuff that's come in the post-game access, and some of that is stuff that we go in and shoot, but other things come up that come from the school, primarily your group. Some of those things we pick off the web, but ideally, timing is everything, and some groups have worked it out with us where 10 minutes after the game, after the locker room scene has happened, they'll bring a tape out to our truck and we'll feed it down the line, and that will lead the day on SportsCenter every time that highlight package of a big win happens. So think about the opportunities that increase by allowing us to get it back to Bristol and Charlotte as quickly as possible versus, as I mentioned to the ACC coaches yesterday, a situation where by the time the school posted on a website and we got to it, the school kind of cleared it. We saw it 24 hours later, and we were in the middle of a busy football Sunday on the NFL. So something that could have got a ton of attention Saturday night in some of our highest rated sports centers ended up being played on Monday and Tuesday afternoon and and lower rated programming. Well after the storyline had kind of died down. So, think about using us for your best stuff to help add to a great win, even in the post game like that. That's been an area we're getting more and more productive in a lot of ways because of your guys' help with us in that area. So, thank you.
I got another one. Are post game melts going away? Or are they still going to be available at the truck after games?
Yeah, we fully expect them to still be available. Were you running into some issues at times?
Yeah, a couple of productions after just said no, we're doing everything in Bristol, and so we don't have anything for you. And when I pushed it, then I found out that truly wasn't the case. They just didn't want to spend the time. I think they were in a hurry, wanted to get out of there, and they just didn't. What
school do you represent?
I'm a BYU ed. You know me well.
Oh, okay. I just don't know where you are. So.
Yeah. Ed and I talked pretty times a year. But I was told a couple of times that melts wouldn't be available. They just had too many other things to do, and then
Did they tell you that before the game or after the game?
It was before the game. So I just want to make sure.
As I've mentioned to you guys in the past, I want you to connect with the folks on site first and foremost. Right. With Mike, with our operations producer, but use me as a resource if you're not. An answer like that just doesn't sound right to you.
No, it did at all. So, and just FYI, Kelly did 3 of our Friday night games. Kelly's crew this year.
Yep.
And I tell you what, it was awesome because she communicated to us by Monday and got us involved, and that was so nice. Even though they reach out to the SIDs, it's really nice to bring the video folks into the loop because we have certain things, know certain things that sometimes the SIDs don't. So, I just want to say thanks for that.
Yeah. Well, the message we send is we want our primary point of contacts to be the SID, the stadium manager, and the video coordinator. And I guess I want to ask you, does your SID, embrace that too, or are they trying to, hey, everything needs to go through me, or this or that? Do you guys run into any of those issues?
No, not at all. No, they're really good. They really appreciate it because sometimes it takes things. It makes their load a little easier because it's things that we can do that they typically don't do or don't know. So it works out really well.
Now, was the melt problem something that happened on a Friday night game?
No, it wasn't a Friday night game. No, the Friday night games. Sad but true. The Friday night games are typically our best games as far as working with ESPN. They're really good crews to tell on Friday night. So I
Gotcha.
can't remember where it was.
Yeah, that shouldn't be the case. There may be extenuating circumstances, on a Saturday night game. I don't see the reason why, but with people trying to get up to Salt Lake City or something, I have no idea. But that doesn't sound right to me. And if Chris and Matt want to again make my number available to everybody, if we can solve a problem right there, right then, that's so much better than finding out about it Sunday or Monday or even in May.
And I'll just jump on that. Just like I said, if we can not involve that because he's dealing with
Right.
25 games, we can deal with the producer and director, ops producer, early in the week, and kind of make that part of the discussion. Hey, you know what? This is what I need. I need a melt at the end of the game, and that's out there as opposed to that whether it's a Friday game or Saturday game, right before, right after. It should happen either case, but I think the over communication the better.
Yes.
I don't want to take anything for granted. I don't want to take any just because I deal with the school more so than another school. I don't want to make any assumptions about anything. And I just think that if we over communicate, I think we can really help each other a lot. And like I said, if there's anything on your end, it almost seems like we're asking for a lot when we come in and what we're looking to do. But in essence, like I said, we're all kind of, it helps everyone. It helps sells your program, it helps sells your school. If there's any more about on a case-to-case basis, I talked to Chris over UNC when they had a Thursday night game there, and this is something that probably would go through Ed, but not every game has Skycam. We have about maybe half a dozen games that have Skycam between Thursday and Saturday, and maybe that's something that your coaches want to see as opposed to the high-end zone. That's something that could be asked during the week. If you know that we're going to have, you got the crew coming in, and we can ask Ed early in the week, so we're not making that call or decision, Saturday morning. And I know you guys do hype videos as well for your teams each week, and I know that's part of the stuff you get from the post-game melts, and that's important, a lot of aspects. So we want to help you as well to get what you need to get done. So I don't want it to sound like it's a one-way street. It's way open, and I think there's so much more we can do for each other. I think this important thing is, for me, I think it's education in the sense that, and I was talking to Chris on the week, is every school, every conference is different in how your departments run. Whether you're dealing with, Jumbotron is different from your football guy as opposed to learning about each school when we go to that school, or the two schools we're working with on who the point person is for football. If we're dealing for a game day, or we're looking for facilities, or we want to get a feed from BYU on their beautiful scenics, do we go through you? Do we go through the stadium ops? Do we, stuff like that. So we can kind of lessen the traffic and know who we're dealing with if we want to get a feed from, the Texas Longhorn locker room basketball, where they all touch the horn, or Nebraska, where they come out with the crowd and we get the camera out in the hallway, or we're dealing with feeds and other things like that. So I think it's a lot of it's education on our part for knowing who does what, and your departments. I know it varies, whether it's Jumbotron, game day events, football, basketball, Olympic sports, and all that stuff. So I think part of that is just us getting educated on that as well.
I want to say before I ask this Twitter question from Kevin at Army that I did have a problem during the year, and Ed and I talked during our game. We had a conversation and precipitated some good dialogue, which I think really helped the way. But Kevin at Army would like to know why the TV truck. I don't know if he's communicating with the TV truck or not. Why the TV truck looks at him funny, and I'm paraphrasing, when we ask for a clean feed.
Looks at you funny?
Looks at the video director, the person that is requesting the video, when they come to the truck, and I don't know how far in advance he's come to the truck or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. The conferences that we deal with, Army's a little different situation, but that's changing. But there's normally an established expectation through the conference that is kind of distributed up front. So to hear request day of game, isn't, completely unusual to us, but we've gotten it less and less. There's different levels of clean feeds. There's certain feeds that we're not comfortable giving out when it comes to certain audio, but you and your coaches are being protective of stuff that is out of your control. What happens on clean feeds is things are on there that aren't necessarily intended for the general public, and when they get distributed in other places, as you guys know, it's out of our hands at that point. So there's a certain protection we feel we owe, certainly to our announcers and to other situations. But all those things can be worked out. I would just say it's really not up to the folks at the truck to authorize that. It really, starts with our programming department, or can come to me, and we'll determine what makes the most sense. So you may be going to someone who's not authorized to give you a yes or no answer.
I know one thing I do. Sorry, I should grab the mic back. Hang on. I said this last year. I'll say it this year too. Is that I personally I get with my SID on Sunday once I know who the broadcaster is or who our executive producer is for that week, and I send them an email saying, this is who I am, this is my position, this is what I'm looking for from your truck this week. Whether it's ESPN, BTN, will be on CBS Sports Network also this year, I try to contact them in advance saying that I'm looking for an HDSDI feed, embedded announcer audio. Big Ten, we have different versions of clean feed, and so I'm trying to be as specific as possible that I want a clean feed with I don't want the scoreboard, I don't want the bug at the bottom. So I know that's just personally what I do. I think that's cleared up some of the issues that I've had.
Yeah, and when you're talking about Big Ten games, the conference is asking for something very specific too. And, we've kind of asked the conference to work that out with the schools so that we don't have to customize every game to what the conference wants, what the what the home school wants, what the visiting school wants, because, they all have different needs. And, we'd like to go in there to every stadium in the Big Ten, for instance, and know exactly what we're providing and start setting it up when we start our setup. And rather than taking custom requests each week. I think that's one of our biggest issues is custom requests. Different audio things with different video. Different crews come in there each week, so you're probably not seeing the same crew each week. And what they're doing one week may be entirely different from what they're doing the next week.
Anybody else? DJ. Hang on just a second, Ed.
I'm not sure if you can answer this question or not, but during the bowl season this year, on our Facebook page, we had some people complain about some of the filming locations for coaches' video were not present at the stadiums. I know ESPN owns a lot of the bowls. Is that something you guys can control, or is that the bowl committees that control that stuff? How can we ensure our spots at our bowl sites?
Your spots to shoot coaches' video?
Correct, yes.
So the high end zone and the high sideline?
Correct.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. I've never heard a concern. Most of these are at NFL stadiums that have plenty of space, but not all of them. The bowls are used to doing these games and probably have followed a set format. Was there anything unusual about your request? Where did they end up putting you?
Well, honestly, this year I haven't been to a bowl in 2 years, but it was just on our Facebook page. People were complaining about their spots not being available. So I can't answer that per se this year.
Any particular stadium you recall?
There was an issue at the Memphis Stadium, I know that
The Liberty Bowl is what we're talking about this year.
I know the TV took over the coach's booth, and coaches still had to go shoot like up on the top of the bowl.
Yeah, I think the Liberty Bowl may have gone through some renovations in the last couple of years that may have impacted that. But we work with the bowl, we work with the Liberty Bowl and all the bowls, fairly frequently all year round, and can certainly, address that, or whomever was dealing. Each school has a contact that deals with all the operational things with the bowl. That might be worth working through your school operations, maybe director of football operations, to that bowl director to get that cleaned up for whomever comes in there next time, because they usually they're looking to accommodate you. They're not looking to just put you in a tough spot, but they might not be aware of the problem, or at least weren't aware of it last year.
And John Cavati from UCF, thanks for joining us. We ran into
I haven't seen you since Dublin.
Since Dublin, exactly. I was gonna ask you what the difficulties are working in an Irish stadium. And by the way, just publicly, I'd like to say thank you to you and to John LaChance and Andy Davenport for all the great work you did and how much you helped us stage that game. I don't know if you got to see any of the Irish press clippings the next day, but they were blown away at the whole game presentation. We could not have done any of that without you guys. You were great partners.
It was fun to do. I recommend it for everybody.
No thanks. Don't do that too often. I'd like to go back. But I wanted to, just without belaboring details, we had some of these issues at St. Pete. One of the things that I've been to St. Pete now 3 times. We seem to always be dealing with a very different group there. I think the events turn over staff relatively often. And so I don't know if there's a way that you could maybe facilitate having Pete Durgis in this conversation in the future, or something that we can talk about all that. Because it just feels like sometimes they're more, the local people on the ground are more worried about obviously the broadcast, and they should be worried about that. But then we come in and defending for ourselves. So maybe we just need to have that conversation with the guys that are running the ball.
Yeah, and they're both, Pete and the other folks on our event staff are there to serve all the bowl needs, not just TVs. We certainly know, it's good to know we have direct access to them if we need to beat them up on something, but again, I'd encourage that to go through your football operations people that are their direct contacts on a regular basis. But yeah, once you show up and they've kind of not given you proper accommodations when you get there the day before the game, boy, it gets really tough at that point. So I'd recommend all of you who have had bowl issues to, either communicate to the bowl directly if you have a contact, or through your football ops now. These guys are good guys who want to get it right. And sometimes if they, with everybody running around on bowl week and during the day before the game and during day of the game, it may be something that, doesn't get fixed for next year either, if it's not brought up again in a off-season matter when they're kind of figuring out all the things they need to fix for next year. So if you had a problem, you might not be the next one into St. Petersburg, but you'll help one of your colleagues out if you can get that there. And I'm happy to funnel anything through to certainly into the ESPN handle bowls, and I know the people at the other bowls as well. But by whatever means necessary, let's get the information to them so you guys get what you need.
Anybody else? Sure.
Hey, speaking to what he had to say about ESPN and other camera guys taking our spots, or at least what's supposed to be designated our spots, we had an incident, I don't think it was with ESPN, but we had an incident where our end zone booth was completely really was just dealing with that with the people that are in that booth at the time. Because I was flatly told by the cameraman that he wasn't moving any of his stuff. And it was unproductive.
Yeah, it's the same thing that we've been working on for the last few years, is just kind of having a relationship in advance. So whether it's Thursday or Friday, you get the opportunity to, get out in front of some of those issues before the cameras get set up. Once the cameras are set up, now you got a little bit of a different type of battle on your hands, and a relationship battle, and a turf war a little bit. And those are never fun to have to deal with once everything's set up. But I certainly, and we've developed similar type of relationships with our partners at the other networks to kind of come together on issues of common ground. I'd certainly invite them to open up the relationship lines with you guys as well if they haven't already done so. All right, I'm headed for my flight. Anything else from me before Mike takes you the rest of the way?
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, have a great rest of your session out there. Hopefully I'll be with you next year.
Doesn't sound like there's any more questions left anyway, but I'm more than happy to answer what I can. Like I said, I'm at a position where I can't greenlight or give any blessings here, but I can certainly tell you about my experiences. And just to kind of hop on that last question, and I know you guys on Friday are still doing practice and stuff like that, but walkthroughs as well at that point. But if there's a way for you guys to come down to the stadium as well after you're wrapping up the Stanford do, and kind of see the setup as well to make sure that we're not set up in spots that or we can move over a couple feet to give some space to you guys as well. We're more than happy to do that. I think when you start doing that on Saturday, it's tougher when the cameras are up and about to go on the air. But we want to work with you, and it's not just a line that we've been given. I think I really believe from last year on, I think we've developed a better relationship. We're not just in with SIDs. I think we can do more, and I'd love to see more. And there's one more example that I thought was really great, and it's from basketball, but an example from a producer that she had given me was there was her announcer, Miles Simon. I guess the West Virginia was doing tryouts for the Mountaineer mascot, and it was something they were going in to do the game that Tuesday. But so their announcer was coming in early. The producer dealt with the video person about shooting Miles being part of the skit with the other Mountaineers, sent the shot sheet. They were able to kind of produce this little piece for the show, for the Tuesday night Big 12 show, and it worked out great. It looked great. It takes you away a little bit from the X's and O's of the game. And like I said, it kind of sells, how this works here. It's a fun aspect of it, and we want to be able to show it all. Whether it's team camaraderie from whatever in preseason or during the week, or team building stuff. Stuff even in the locker room. Some of the stuff, I did NFL for 13 years, actually longer. I was about 15 years. But, as a person that never obviously played on that level, or level beneath that, or level beneath that, it's fun to even see stuff in the weight room where you have Larry Allen lifting 550 pounds, Jim Druckenmiller, as a quarterback, showing that, and then showing that to the fans at home. It's pretty cool, these athletes. They're, think about the percentage of people that do what they're doing. So stuff that you guys get like that, whether it's on a phone, iPhone, iPad these days, we air everything. They send us out with GoPros now, just in case, to get stuff. I know right now we kind of look at Garmin's now, but they all producing directors have our own GoPros, just in case there's something going on when we get there during the weekend. It's a little different when we're doing football games and basketball games. We're kind of in and out. We kind of travel on Thursday, Friday set up, Saturday's game. We're gone Saturday or Sunday. It's a little different when you're doing other things. This past weekend, I was at LSU for the SEC softball tournament. So I'm there the whole week. So you have all the teams there. You can do different things with teams. But when you're dealing with kind of one-offs in basketball, or weekly things on football, the stuff we can get early from you, the stuff we can request, stuff, communicate with you early in the week, Monday or Tuesday, once we know we're going to your site, and things you may have, even if it didn't air the week prior. Hey, I got this. I shot this stuff last week in the locker room. These guys were, had a surprise birthday party, whatever the case may be. And it maybe that didn't air it, or maybe it was on a different network. To me, we've always been told air your best stuff, and and we do. And if there's stuff that you guys have, and we can air it, and we will. And like I said, I think it benefits you and the program as well. I think it'd be great, and I'd like to see more of that. And when we meet in August, I'll talk to more producer directors about being over communicative as well, sending out. And I don't know if everyone gets a weekly letter. Maybe certain producers do it, but I think they all should. And send it to visiting and home video coordinators, and kind of get on board.
you think if we got you or Ed a list of the video directors as we have it, that we could just be added on to your?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, that'd be awesome, yeah. Can't hurt, yeah. Any other questions, or? All right. Easy enough for me. I'll be here after as well if anyone wants a sidebar, if they didn't want to ask questions, but, want to talk about other things, but I'm not rushing out. I live here, although I got to catch a ride out back to Baton Rouge for softball regionals, but I'm here for a while. So come out and talk. But I'm sure I'll see a lot of you. I do the Saturday noon show with Greasy and Cash and Luganville, and I'm sure I'll be on that again this fall. So I'm sure I'll see a lot of you as well. But I look forward to working with you. And if there's anything more we can do, and I have cards as well. If you kind of want to contact me, I can kind of be the go-between. Ed is kind of tough to get to sometimes. Got a couple of layers to get to him. It's my layers are non-existent, so I have ears to all the producer directors. And I'll see them all in a couple of months as well, and I can relay any concerns, even if not from here, but if you send me emails from now up until then, I'd be happy to pass along any concerns or questions or stuff I can answer. I think we're in this together. Like I said, I said in the beginning, we're kind of working on little bubbles, but I think we can kind of move those bubbles a little closer, and we can work with each other and kind of sell this brand. So, all right.
Thank you.